Instagram. Hey everyone on all the platforms. We are here live for the social impact level up conversation of the evening. I usually am not on in the evening. I'm usually resting and like chilling out. I decided to do live at a new time just to see if I could try it out. I think I've done this a few times on Instagram. So there's probably going to be some people who I assume will join us on Instagram. We're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you want to see the slides, you want to see the overlays come through on the feed, we're talking today about committing 100% to our ideas. And this is something that is really important to me because I am talking to you guys about ideas this month. We're getting ready for the next year. It's going to be 2023 before we know it. And people on Instagram are like, yes, this is happening. New Year is coming. And we have to be ready for the things that we want to accomplish. So that includes all of our goals, all of the things we're working towards, all of the big dreams and things that we wanted to get done in 2022, and we might not have had them happen. So this is really alive to help you think about what are the solutions that you have available to you, and what kinds of things can you be thinking about as solutions in your life that are already there. So we're talking today not about problems, but about solutions. And I wanted to focus on solutions, one, to be solution oriented so we can continue to be in a growth mindset, but two, because we often think about solutions as external factors or external things, and sometimes they're not really external, they're actually us. And so that's really what we're going to be talking about today, is how do we work on ourselves as an actual solution to our own problems. So the golden rule that I want to teach to you today is we are part of the problem. And as much as we hate to admit that we are usually part of our own problems, if we are not taking action, or if we have ideas that we are not taking action on, a lot of the times we are part of the problem. And we don't like to hear that a lot because we often think, well, the environment or something external to us is what's causing it. And a lot of the times, environment can influence what's going on with you. People around you can influence what's going on with you. And hey, guys who are joining us on Instagram, good to see you. If you are blaming other people and you're not taking ownership as part of the solution, then a lot of the times you have to wait for someone else or something else to be your solution. If you are realizing that you are part of the problem, it empowers you to also be part of the solution. So when I talk to you about these things, one of the things I teach in my accelerator is, how do you own up to that solution, right? Like, how do you step into the idea that's ruminating in your brain and say, I want to make this happen. Like, I want to actually go forward with this idea. And if you're too busy saying, oh, well, the timing isn't right, or I can't make this commitment right now, or I'm too afraid to make this commitment, then you are leaving it to other factors to decide if you're ready or not, where you really could be part of your own solution. So why is it so hard for us to commit to something in the first place, though? What are those barriers that we place on ourselves? And as I said, we're not always thinking about this in the best way, because it's hard for us to externalize that we're part of the problem. So if we're thinking, oh, the problem is everything else, we tend to blame a lot of other things. So some of the things we blame are time, fear of the unknown, and resources. And time, usually we blame time because there isn't enough of it, or we perceive that we're wasting time, but we don't want to say wasting. So we just say, oh, we're procrastinating or something, or we're putting it off, or we're leaving it for a little bit. So time can make us not do our ideas. Time can make us not take action. Time can give us analysis paralysis. And time can also be a thief of our ideas, because sometimes if we're too busy waiting for the right time, we fail to recognize when there was an opportunity for us to act. In the last live, I talk about opportunities to act. So if you missed that part of the conversation and barriers and looking for the opportunities, go back to the last live and listen to that information, because this is where it all connects. Time is one of the barriers to act when we allow it to be. But if we're our own solution, we can take control over the timeline. So we can decide, even if something doesn't seem like it's exactly the right time, we can decide if the opportunity is good enough for us to proceed. And we can decide if we want to use opportunities that we have in front of us. And if we are ignoring opportunities, that is also within our control. So we can decide to stop ignoring opportunities as well. Fear of the unknown, it's like people don't know what they don't know. And yeah, and Esther's saying on LinkedIn, the window of opportunity being open. Exactly. So when there is an opportunity, sometimes it's even really small window. And if you don't act right away, you're going to miss it. So it's a great ad, Esther. Thanks for that. So the fear of the unknown is, it's almost like people want to know what they don't know because they want a guarantee. And the reason the fear comes is because that guarantee doesn't come. So if you can't guarantee someone, if you can't say, I'm going to help you sell this product and you're going to sell 5,000 of them, if you can't make guarantees like that, people are like, well, I'm not sure. I'm a little bit scared of what there is out there. I don't know what it is, so there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to sell 5,000 of this thing. So fear of the unknown can stop people from even saying, well, I don't want to even create my product, or I don't want to, yeah, someone on Instagram is saying they tend to rush things and not wait for the right time. Yes, exactly. And when you're afraid of the unknown or you don't know what is happening, sometimes you can rush things too, because you're just like, well, I'll just hurry up and do it, or I'll just get it done right now. And you don't tend to wait and see, well, if I did it at another time, could it be a better opportunity for me? And fear of the unknown can also stop us because we are thinking our vision is too big and we don't want to overcommit to this vision. So because we don't know what is going to happen in the future, we say, okay, well, we'll only do this little part, like, or we'll keep ourselves small on purpose. And if I keep myself small and that's manageable, then I'm not going to be as afraid to do it, or I'll be able to do it in a way that I can control. And so sometimes fear of the unknown can make us small or make us think of our vision in a box that we can control, and not in a big, grand, maybe what would happen if our vision was bigger than us and we had to overextend ourselves to actually reach that vision and reach that level. And if we are not trying to level up and we're trying to stay small, that's fine. That's totally fine if that's where you're at. But if you're not, and you're like me, and you're like, I want to get to the next level of what my purpose is, or what am I doing here? What am I trying to build? Then, you want to make sure that the fear of unknown doesn't stop you from integrating the ideas that you have into your life. Now, resources is something I can't say enough about. I talked about it in the last live. As I said, if you missed this part of the conversation, go back and listen to it. When you think about barriers, or you think about the reasons that people don't do their ideas, so if you want to start a business, you want to start a nonprofit, you want to build a new product or service or program, or you just want to go out on your own and get a side hustle, even any of these ideas that you have, sometimes you can perceive that you don't have the resources to start. And so resources might be the network or the connections. Resources might be the actual physical thing to do something. So something to make the goods, or to have the design to put on the t-shirt, right? So there might be a lot of reasons why you think, I don't have the resources to do this. You might not have the mental resources to put something out. And you might think, okay, I need to hold back a little bit for my own purposes, for my own well-being. So it's hard to commit a lot of the time because we don't have control over everything. As I said before, we want to control things. So we want them to be nice and easy and in a box and nice and manageable for us, but that's not always the way it happens. And when you're implementing a new idea, the reason why these barriers come up and it's hard for us to commit is because we can't control time. We can't control the fear of the unknown. We can't control resources all of the time. I think we saw that with the pandemic, when there was like, hey, there's no chicken, or hey, this week, I think heard this year we're going to have like less access to turkey for Thanksgiving, right? We don't always have the resources that we want. And it's difficult for us to then say, okay, I'm going to proceed because I don't know what's going to happen if I don't have the right resources to do this. So lots of barriers. We've talked all about barriers. We're going to move from the problems to the solutions, because I promised you today that we're talking about solutions, and I want to get to those solutions. So the key Thank you. I'm so glad this is important. Yes, this is important. Important stuff. Important stuff being said on this live. Um, the solution is you. You are the solution, and it's not a trick solution. It's not a Wendy, why are you telling me obvious things solution. You are literally the key to you making your ideas happen. And if you let external factors stop you from doing something, you can't expect the results to happen, right? So if you're blaming time, if you're blaming the fear of the unknown, if you're sitting there holding yourself back or taking, procrastinating on an idea and not doing it, if that is what is happening with you, then you can't expect to get the results. Because if you want to get the results, you have to put in the action. You have to take action. You have to put in the work. And when you don't put in the work, you won't see the results. And so, hey, how are you? It's good to see you. And I wanted to really stress this idea that you can take control and be your own solution. So to do that, I was going to give you a fun story tonight, because again, this is like our after dark conversation here on all of the socials. There was a time, and I say this because there's a tie-in with the news. It's actually a very timely story. If you didn't hear, there was a plane crash in Tanzania recently, and it killed 19 people. And so 19 people drowned in Lake Victoria as a result of this plane crash. And the airport that they were flying into is an airport that I've flown into before. It's an airport with a dirt runway, and it has a really small planes that go into it. So the fact that there was even this many people on that plane, I was very shocked. But I guess a bunch of people did survive. So it's not, but it's a tragedy, right? And so this part of Africa is extremely difficult to travel to. And when you get there, it's right on the edge of Lake Victoria. So if a plane is precariously going into any airport in the world, this is one of the most precarious ones I've ever flown into. And I remember thinking, as I was there flying, I happened to sit in the passenger seat next to the pilot. So I was in the front of the plane. And this was a Cessna 9-seater. So it was an even smaller plane than the one that crashed. And I remember thinking, as we went over Lake Victoria, I don't know what any of these buttons do. I don't know how in the world this plane works. If something happens right now to this man or this plane, I wouldn't know what to do, but I'm somehow sitting in the jump seat, right? Like as if I deserve to sit here. I just happened to be the last seat available and I jumped in it. And when I realized that we were over Lake Victoria, and if anything happened, I would have to get out of a plane or help others out of a plane or do something because I'm in the jump seat. I started looking around and I was like, okay, what is the solution here? How does this plane work? How can I be my own solution for this problem? Because they didn't want exactly what happened, to have to wait for the authorities to get there. When you're in Africa, this is not like a come easily situation to wherever you are. Usually it's pretty far out into the middle of nowhere. So when you're going to Bukoba, and this is my timer, sorry, Instagram. I had a timer set. Oh, there we go. Hopefully you're back. When you go out to these kinds of places, these really rural places, and you're traveling in these really rural places, and you're trying to do gooder work, you're doing your Good Samaritan work, you're doing whatever, working with people in refugee camps or whatever it is. Sometimes you have to be ready to be your own solution, because you are not going to get help very easily in some of these situations. So those of us that I know that have lived in Africa and have worked in Africa and have traveled in Africa or done Peace Corps, a lot of the times we are used to bringing stuff with us in order to be our solution. And you can't always bring everything. You can't always plan for everything. As I said, you don't know what the environment is going to bring. You don't know what you don't know. Who knows what's going to happen in the middle of Africa? Like this kind of travel, usually you're going, okay, anything's going to happen today. Let's be prepared for that. And if you let those things stop you, then you're not going to go and have those experiences. You're not going to go and take the actions to do the things that I've done, where if I had not gone to Bacoba in this plane, I actually wouldn't have a tree named after me in a rural part of Tanzania that's just on the other side of Bacoba on the Malawi and Rwanda border. But because I did take this action to get on the plane and to face my fears and to realize that I could be my own solution if I needed to, I was able to go and enjoy this really beautiful visit with a CDC clinic that has a plaque and a tree dedicated to me because I was their visitor who came all the way from the other side of Tanzania and then all the way from America to get this clinic opened with them. So there's always something going on behind the ideas that we have, and we don't know what that experience is going to be. And if you let fear or you let circumstances beyond your control stop you from the idea. So if I decided to move to Tanzania, if I had not decided to say yes to CDC, I will go to this rural part of Tanzania. I today wouldn't be able to share the story with you, but I also wouldn't even know where Bukoba Airport was when I saw it on the news. I went, what? This is so random, but I know exactly what happened here. And I understand exactly what happened here. And it's experiences like that that change your life, right? These are the life-changing moments where you realize, wow, in my experience here on earth, I've learned something, but I've also been able to be part of something that's bigger than me, part of something that I could go and help other people. I could go and serve other people. And it didn't matter if there was fear, or it didn't matter if there was risk, or it didn't matter if there was some sort of possible tragedy or something that could happen. I still was able to decide, hey, this idea is important to help other people. I'm going to go do it, and I'm going to go make this commitment to help others. So when you're a social entrepreneur, getting back to our social entrepreneurship and what we always talk about on the social impact level of lives, social entrepreneurship is a special form of entrepreneurship. It's a special form of people who choose to serve and choose to use the vehicles that they have through their business or their nonprofit to do so. And when we do things like that, our ideas really, really super matter, because if we don't do our ideas, then they don't happen. That means that people don't get served and people don't get help. So our ideas in particular need to happen. We need to get past these barriers. We need to stop blaming all of our, procrastination, all of the times that we're stopping or we're not proceeding. We need to stop blaming that on everything but ourselves, because we have the opportunity, we have the power, we have the decision-making power to take action on our ideas. And it always comes up every time I'm working with people and they're trying to commit to something. They're trying to make friends with their idea. They're trying to say, okay, I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to do it. And sometimes they don't see themselves as a solution. They see themselves only as part of the problem. And we talked earlier on that, yes, the environment and you are always part of the problem, but you, unlike the environment, are a sustainable solution. You are a sustainable solution to your own problems. You are a sustainable solution to your own barriers. External factors are not. You cannot control external factors. You cannot control time. You cannot always control resources. You cannot always control timing of when opportunities present themselves to you. But you can control yourself and your response and what you decide to do. So if you take anything away from this live, the whole point of this is that you are the solution. You are empowered to make choices. You are empowered to seek help and to seek guidance and to seek resources and to make shit happen. And if things are not happening for you, you cannot sit in a place of blame and continue to say, I expect these results, yet I'm not willing to take the actions to get the results. You have to take the actions. You have to make the choices. You have to put the effort in. And if you do, you will be rewarded, right? That is absolutely guaranteed. Next time we talk, we're going to continue talking about solutions and actions. This is next week's live. Same time, Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We will be here and we will talk about risking it all for your passion. Today we talked about being your own solution, and next live we'll focus more on what does it feel like to be in a place of vulnerability and to be in a place of risk in order to get the reward that you really want? So I hope you'll join me for that live. Thank you for everybody who rolled through on Instagram or any of the other platforms. It was great to have you here. I'm so excited that you guys came. Thank you for being here in the evening with me to chat about how do we move our ideas into action. This month, I'm sharing with you my Idea to Action Accelerator. You'll hear more about it on all my social media channels. This is where we work on all of these different issues and we come up with the solutions for ourselves to take priority and work together. So I do this with you for 5 days. I guide you through a process to take these ideas out of your head and to put them into action. And we're doing this just in time for 2023 to make sure if there is anything that you want to take action on, that you have the ability to do so, and that you feel confident about doing this, and that you're not running into some of these barriers that we've been talking about in the lives. So I hope that you'll join me for the Level Up Accelerator, or sorry, for the Idea to Action Accelerator, and level up your impact. And it starts on the 16th. It's going for 5 days. We'll take a break over the weekend, and then we'll come back on Monday and Tuesday, and we'll finish it out. If you have any questions, you can take a look at my website, and all of the information is available there. And I'm excited to have folks who have already taken it. A couple of people want to take it again just because I'm making adjustments and making it a little bit different. So even if you have taken my accelerator in the past, join us again. This is going to be a fun time, and I'm really excited about it. So thanks for being here tonight, and I'll see you guys later on all the different social media platforms. And if you want to subscribe to the Social Impact Level Up podcast, we'd love to have you as a follower there as well on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. See you guys. Oh, and yeah, and thank you, Esther, for joining on LinkedIn. It was good to have you. All right, and I want to see who's still here on Instagram, actually. Let me see if I can figure out who it is. Oh, Shayna, thanks for being here.